but how do you deal with sometimes you can get dragged into like a more depressive state, or like I mean, myself and others, I know that people just deal with that, right? And we hear it all the time in our industry now. People are struggling with depression, or once negative numbers come, like, how do we handle it? How are we supposed to deal with it?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. Like I had, I just had this very same discussion with an entrepreneur who from Seattle, who has a failed startup, and and this person is at the risk of getting depressed, but probably not, because this person has a very strong head on their shoulders. But when I think about what happened when I was at HP and things started to sort of fall apart, and I think about what I did when I was at home and just kind of sat around doing nothing kind of thing, that's kind of the low point for me. The way you handle it is by not being envious of others, right? Envy is it's a horrible emotion. Being envious and jealous of people is never a good thing. It's always good to be kind of happy for people as they succeed, and learn from people that are doing great things, and know what you're good, and know your limitations, essentially, right? But look, if things fail, it's completely okay as long as you recognize it fast enough.
Right.
Because if you recognize it, you can go do something else. That's what you do. You get up and you go build something else, and that happens often in the tech space, and that happens often in the world of startups. And now, man, I don't know. I mean, the space is changing. The world of funding is changing. When you see companies like Quirky and going out, and then Evernote, who knows what's going to happen with those guys, and then you've got all this other stuff happening in the VC space where there's a lot of exuberance, before fundamentals. I do think that there's going to be a little bit of a change. I don't think it's going to blow up completely, but I think that people are going to start looking at how do you build a real business. So my suggestion is to those who are at the point of sort of depression and things are going down, and they should just cut it off if things are failing, and they know they can't turn it around, and try something different. Try going and getting a job somewhere and just learning what it's like inside a big organization. Right. That changed my life. It's probably the best thing I did.
I bet, yeah. I mean, my perspective, I've dealt with it a little bit. I mean, my first real startup, didn't really go anywhere after a couple of years. And for me, though, I look at it as it was just the start of my journey. And I made a ton of connections, and who's to say that failure is not the most important thing for you to go through so that you can then build a better company? Right. I mean, in reality, like, it can't all be great. No, right? So you gotta go through that stuff.
Exactly, you gotta go through that. And I almost went through failure when I was at Microsoft, right? I as I said, 11 months, I had 4 bosses. They didn't know what to do with me, and I was almost out the door. And so you learn from that, and you pivot, and you think, what am I going to do to go add value, or what am I going to do that I can do that no one else can, sort of thing. And so you have to learn from failure and change it quickly.